Wanted to talk with you guys both about this because I know you had an opportunity to meet and talk with a very interesting fan out there in Oxnard that Dak Prescott also kind of made his day, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, Doug Littleton. He is a special needs, not young man. Uh, Doug actually turned 50 years old
Hmm.
on July 15th. His mom, Loretta, and his dad, Charlie, drove 3 days from Fort Worth with the express mission of meeting Dak Prescott. I
Hmm.
actually got a text from a guy who used to work with game day operations with the Cowboys and kind of gave me a heads up on this. He reached out to Arnold Payne, our videographer, as well. And we met the Littletons here. We alerted the Cowboys about Doug. There's
Hmm.
Doug with the cowboy hat on. There he is. He touts himself as the biggest Dak fan there is. And instead of having a big blowout for his 50th birthday party, they decided to spend that money to make the trek here to Oxnard and look at Dak Prescott showing up. He found out about it, and as he went down the line, he made sure he found Doug, got him that autograph ball right there. He also
Super
signed
cool.
the sign that Doug likes to hold up. And you guys, my man, my man Doug is a vibe, right? Because he has Down syndrome and he's nonverbal, but you guys, he gets his point across.
Yeah.
Because when I showed up and I was talking to the family, he was like, huh. And he starts pointing at Dak. He made sure that I knew exactly what he wanted, and it was crystal clear. And so good on Dak Prescott because I promise you, he made a lifetime memory for that family. Loretta was in tears afterward. And, you know, that we know Dak's that kind of guy.
Yes.
And we know that he signs these autographs all the time, but I think that really pulled the curtain back in terms of the impact that you can have on an individual family and what that fandom can mean. And it was just really a cool deal. Very cool deal. Good on Dak Prescott. Good on the Cowboys for relating that message to him, right? Because
Yes.
when I got to the practice field, the Littletons were the first people I saw, but practice had already started. And I'm like, hey, listen, I will talk to Dak as soon as practice is over, but I have to wait until practice is over. He might be on the other side of the field. I can't promise he's going to get to where you are.
Yeah.
But AP talked to one of the staffers. I talked to one of the PR people, and they all made it happen. So good job by Dak and the Dallas Cowboys making a lifetime memory for my man Doug and the Littleton family.
Listen, Dak has always been good at this kind of thing. He understands how to approach this moment. He understands how to, because you're right, Joe, he'll sign a couple hundred autographs over the
Yeah,
course of the
everybody wants his
lifespan of
autograph,
training camp. And some of them are going to be routine, and some of them are just going to be going down the line and signing autographs and tossing hats, and like that's part of training camp. But to dial in and actually connect and share a moment with this family and make sure that this was more than just a quick autograph and I'm moving down the line because, hey, this is a little bit different. This is a little extra special. Let's make sure that this moment sticks. Speaks to who he wants to be and who he's been his entire career in terms of his connection with the fan base, his connection with this community. It's not a surprise, but it's just another example of the ways that he executes this kind of moment really, really well.
And by the way,
Being
that's
the
the
quarterback of
Middleton
America's.
family. I want to make sure we get that right. Middleton. If I said
Oh,
Littleton,
okay.
that was an error. The Middleton family, right? Right. Loretta, that's Charlie the dad, and then of course Doug is the star of the show.
It's Middleton, Joe.
It is Middleton. Yes.
Okay,
the
I'll have to
Middleton
go
family,
change the
not
web story because I said
Middleton.
Littleton in the web story yesterday, so I'll have to go update that. But anyway, that's behind the scenes stuff. Anyway,
Fact checking.
yeah.
What were you saying, Michelle?
No, just being the quarterback for this team, America's team, it comes with so much, and that right there is one of the things. And he's always been so good about holding up that end of the bar or that portion of the job. But yeah, you have to think like that's just something that he's 50 years old and that's probably one of his best days, So that's
Absolutely.
just, it's awesome that Dak makes the time to do that kind of stuff. I mean, time and time again, but you think about the pressure that these guys live under, especially at this point in the season. where there are so many things that have got to be going through his mind. But he always makes time for the fans and the opportunities where he has a chance to kind of step away and do the right thing. And so it's just awesome.
Michelle, I don't know if you remember this from yesterday or not because it was a whole 24 hours ago, but when you were doing your walk down the line of all the people that were waiting to get into practice yesterday, you pointed out that sign, the Doug is Dak's number one fan sign. And then little did we know it was going to be just the coolest story behind it. And especially, it was Dak's birthday yesterday, but I feel like Doug got the present.
100%. 100%.
And you're right, Michelle, because how easy would it be and how understandable would it be?
And how many other quarterbacks?
If he took the approach of, hey, I got to go watch film. I've got to go review what we did in practice. I've got to go study the playbook. I've got to
He's
go
got a million things
this,
to do.
that, whatever. There are so many things. There are so many responsibilities. There are so many things that he probably just wants to do of his own accord.
Yeah.
On his birthday.
But there's an understanding.
On his birthday.
That's a good point. Yes.
That was the Dak. That was the Dak of it all for me, you guys. On Dak's birthday, he gave the gift of a lifetime instead of receiving gifts from others, and that's my man Dak to a T. It's just the makeup that he has, and that was a very cool part of it.
He hears a lot on social media. Maybe he doesn't actually hear it, but people say a lot on social media. People say a lot on the talk shows. Unfortunately, it's football season. We have to hear LaShawn McCoy talk again about football. It's just the reality of the situation. I think he's able to block a lot of that stuff out, but it's impossible to ignore all of it. I do wonder what it will feel like for him if he is able to get rid of the but. If he is able to have bona fide postseason success, if he is able to get that monkey off his back, how good that will feel and how deserved that will be after what he's had to deal with over the course of 11 seasons now.
Mike, I think that's a great point, and I tried to bring that up yesterday. Michelle, you and I are of the same mind.
We are.
Because we're always ready to jump in at the same time. But I was going to make the point that at the State of the Team press conference, the thread that you kind of brought up, I tried to pull on that thread because it's no longer possible for these players to completely block out all of the noise. You know, we're on this thing far too much now. There's no way for them to get away from all of it. And I tried to get an answer from both Jerry, you know, kind of under the tent poles of the brand being so paramount, and also Shotty in terms of how they help players deal with that. And I have to be honest, neither of them had a very good answer. You know, Jerry's point was, or he tried to make the point that it didn't really, you know, have an effect, you know, and then Shotty kind of said, you know, we rely on the tradition and lean into the tradition of the brand. And, you know, that's kind of not the point of it. The point is, you know, these young men who look at social media more than any of their predecessors ever have are affected by it because they do see it and they can't block it out anymore. And unfortunately, I don't think the Cowboys have a very good way of dealing with it, and they need to be better with it. Listen, they've got player programs that help with a lot of different things that are going on with these young men. But that's one thing, you know, that they need to do better with, because unfortunately, too many of these players have rabbit ears. And I think it's to their detriment. And when you're the most profitable sports franchise on the planet, they're going to have to deal with more because of it. And I think they just need to do a better job.
Yeah. The other thing that's hard about it, though, is you don't even need to have rabbit ears anymore, because everything about
in your
society
face
is grabbing a hold of your ear and shoving every bit of that information. Like there's no way to get away from it. You don't need rabbit ears, unfortunately, anymore. I do want to put a bow on the Doug thing real quick, but we have to hit a break. Before we do that, if we can just call up SOT 21, Doug's mom talked about what it was like for their family to experience this and to have this moment that they had with Dak.
Did this exceed your expectations?
Most definitely, especially with all the wonderful people that have been involved in all this whole journey of Doug's. I just can't thank everybody enough. We have a lot of workers from the Cowboys that are very, very special to us now, reporters now.
So very, very
That's
cool.
awesome.